What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lasting Thoughts Podcast. I am your host, Digital Relaxation, and we are back again for another episode. And as always, if you guys enjoy what you hear, what you're going to hear, please be sure to share and rate this podcast and all that good stuff. Help us grow and reach more people. Just get into it, man. I'm not gonna keep saying if this is gonna be short or not, cause you know how that goes. As always, what I've been up to since my last episode. I'm gonna start from the least things I'm gonna talk about down to the most. But overall, I mean, not a lot, but kind of a lot. Depends. So first thing, simple. Go with the music section. I know I talked about him a few times on this podcast, so now I'm finally getting my wish. Absol has finally announced his album since the last episode, and it's coming out this Friday, which is the 16th? Yeah, the 16th. It's called Herbert. I believe this is... Because I know they like to be weird with albums on like whether you categorize an actual album or not. This technically his third album, but he has two albums before that, but people don't really categorize those as albums. We acknowledge that they're albums, but they're like, I don't know, something about I don't know. It's the same thing with Section 80 with Kendrick Lamar. I mean, that's technically an album, but most people like in the mainstream era will say Good Kid, Mad City is his first album. But yeah, so technicals. I mentioned throughout like the past previous podcast episodes that he started the year off with his return. He dropped a single. Then, which I do not think that single is going to be, is it? Let me see. I think I was going to need the track list for this. He did drop the track list, which track list wise, the album looking pretty lengthy. It's a lot of songs, but maybe some of them is just short. Who knows? Let me see. Oh, yeah, it is. All right, so the single is going to be on this album. Hollandaise, he dropped the single earlier in the year, and then he came back with the Shoot for the Moon song. I think this might be this song, Moon Shooter, which is featuring Joey Badass on the album version, apparently. Let me make sure. Moon Shooter. Yeah, so he dropped the visualizer for the song Moon Shooter, but it was just his verse. So the album version is gonna have Joey Badass on it. And then he dropped the Do Better song, the music video for Do Better, which that was the song that he's really pushing the most. And then he did Gangin' Them. So we got 4 quote-unquote singles, 2 music videos before the album even released. I mean, it's good because like Absol is a person, like I mentioned before, he's not a very out there person, so it's nice that he's putting himself out there with all these songs and videos to promote the album first. I believe Do What Thou Wilt probably the least he did, if I'm not mistaken. There was like 3 videos for Do What Thou Wilt. There was Roll Backwards, Huey New, and Drugs. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh no, actually there's one more. Funny enough, that's actually one of my favorite songs on the album. Evil Genius, that one too. So I mean, he's been active, but that album was a very heavy album, as he mentioned before. You gotta like listen to that one a few times. But yeah, he's back. Album drops Friday. I like that he even admitted that this one is more of a, like, he wants to be out there now. It's not just like, hey, I just rapping for the love of it. Like, he wants to make he wants to basically put his name out there now in a more broader spectrum. So hopefully this album is the one that does it, because he has been slept on for too long. My personal favorite in the whole TDE. I believe that he was, no disrespect, but lyricism wise, I believe Ab-Soul is better than Kendrick. Kendrick just puts better albums together. So hopefully this album can step up. Not saying that his previous albums were bad, but there were some songs in there that was like, there was no need to have that in there. So hopefully this whole album don't feel like that. But yeah, that's about it for music. The year's almost over. We on the last month, man. We were still in November. Yeah, we were still in November during the last episode. We are about halfway into December now. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to have to do either a New Year wrap up or, yeah, probably New Year wrap up. Man, I wasn't even thinking about that. That's the 28th. I would drop that episode. See how that goes. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for music, for all I'm concerned about. Next up, film. I haven't really been watching much, but on a whim, I decided to watch Bullet Train, which is a film Brad Pitt was in. I believe it came out last year. No, it actually came out this year, but came into streaming platforms quickly. It's on Netflix now. I remember seeing like the advertisement for this movie. But yeah, Bullet Train. Best way to describe this movie, this is one of those movies where everything connects. Like, the movie it has multiple characters. It's a big cast. Not a big cast, but it's a pretty hefty cast in terms of who's important in the story. So there's a good amount of characters in the story, and we can learn that basically all of their stories intertwine, and the whole movie takes place for the most part on this train, and we're trying to basically figure out the mystery of why they are all here and what's going on and what's the purpose of everything. It's a pretty comedy action movie, more so comedy. Yeah, no, nothing too bad. It's a good watch. Not that serious. I don't want to spoil, but there was, I mean, I'm not even gonna say nothing. No, if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend it. It's a good. The only thing I would say downside of this movie did go on too long. Like, there was a point where we figured out, like, where we got to the point where it was like, oh, we figured everything out. Then the movie went for like another good 30 minutes. I'm like, bro, like, can we end this now? So the movie is a little too long for my liking, but still a good movie, all in all. But yeah, that's about it. I started rewatching The Wire again, so going on that journey again. I want to watch it now that, like, knowing the stuff that I know about the series and the characters and everything, and go into it with a different lens, as I usually do. Speaking of stuff, I'm not. It was been confirmed, but it's been confirmed through like social media. Like, I feel like it wasn't no legit news outlet. I didn't even search it up, but apparently Rush Hour 4 has been confirmed to be in the works, which, funny enough, that I was watching the trilogy not that long ago, so boom. But apparently Jackie Chan says that the fourth movie, so Jackie Chan himself is saying it. So yeah, the fourth movie's in the works. Hopefully the timeline don't get weird like I was speculating last time. Well, from what I can figure out with the timeline is that the first movie happened and then the second movie happened. Well, by the time we got to the second movie, 2 weeks has passed since the first movie. Something like that. Like a few weeks has passed since the first movie. And then the third movie, I think it's probably about like 7 years maybe passed since the second movie. So more than likely this movie probably might be current in terms of timeline, to explain why maybe some of them are older than they should be, if they are. I don't know. I mean, yeah. So we'll see where that goes. Yeah, a lot of movies. I also know that there's another Saw movie that's coming out, but this one is actually going to be like tied into the actual Saw franchise, Saw X, which Tobin Bell is going to reprise his role as Jigsaw. So this is good. But yeah. Next up on the list, we got video games. First thing, they finally put the final season of The Walking Dead on the Game Pass. For some, because I don't know why they. I mean, I know because I guess the developers and the publishers who made the last what you call it the last season, they are Skybound and they're not Telltale, so I guess because they put basically the entire franchise on the Game Pass, but they excluded the last one out for whatever reason. So I'm assuming that maybe it's because of who actually has the rights to the movie and whatnot. I mean the movie to the game and whatnot. So it probably took a little bit longer, but they finally put it. So as of this moment, if you have the Game Pass, the entire Walking Dead franchise, from the first game to even the spin-off with Michonne, is all on the Game Pass. So if you have not tried that franchise yet, or if you like me and never got a chance to finish the franchise, you have the perfect opportunity to do it now. So quick review impressions of the final season. It was decent. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I didn't like that the game all right, so it's not bad that the game took place in a small area, because the game really just took place in one area the entire season. It was that there was all these characters, but I mean, we all in this one spot with all these characters, but I didn't find majority of the supporting characters interesting. I didn't care about them, so it sucks because it wasn't like the last games where we end up in one spot, the next thing we're in a whole nother town. We run into 3 groups of survivors. One dies. We run into another town and we find more. So it was like we constantly making progress, but like we were just stuck in this one spot, stuck with this one cast. You had to make that cast memorable if we're going to be stuck with them for the entire game, and they weren't memorable at all. Like, I didn't like them. I didn't like their attitude. I didn't like the forced relationships they gave you for Clem. It's not that I didn't want to have her dating anyone. It just didn't feel right with her character, and then it didn't feel right how they were coming on to Clem, and none of the relationships made sense to me, so I friend zoned both of them. I just left her solo. But yeah, I mean, it's decent. But I say it wasn't a strong conclusion. I'll say that. Still like the first one. Still like the second one. I mean, technically the third one, even though that was it's technically a spinoff, but that one was cool. Honestly, it was cool, but I don't remember it too much. So yeah, and I never played Michonne because I never really watched the actual series. I stopped after the second season because that season was boring, and I think that's the general consensus that season is boring. Unfortunately, I just didn't feel the need to pick it back up after that. As most people know, if you stuck around for that season, then you were probably rewarded with the rest of the show. I know the show just recently ended, but for me, I couldn't do it. That season was weak. But yeah, Walking Dead. But next in gaming news, the Video Game Awards has recently happened, and I'm not going to talk about everything that won and whatnot. I'm just going to talk about the ones that I care about. So to get the big main one out the way, game of the year. I mean, this is the absolute best game of the entire year. Elden Ring won, which, I mean, compared to what it has to go up against. Granted, funny thing is, who else? I think it was Stray, Elden Ring, God of War. What's the name of this game? What's the name of the game? Don't do this to me. What's the name of the game? Oh my God, it's there. Horizon. I know there's more to Horizon, but that game, Horizon, there's more to the name though. Horizon, and Plague Tale, and I'm not sure if I said Stray, but those were the contenders for Game of the Year. I only played Plague Tale. I watched the story for God of War. Honestly, it was all right. Story wise, I'm not gonna say as a game if it's an improvement or not, but the story wasn't hitting like the last one. So I mean, Stray, I wouldn't really put Stray up there. Stray is an indie game that managed to, yeah, not saying nothing wrong with indie games. I'm just saying, like, probably more deserving games than Stray. I'm glad that Plague Tale actually got nominated, because that was a good game. But Elden Ring took it, and I mean, it was obvious that Elden Ring would take it, only because you had more time with Elden Ring. God of War literally just came out like last month, and how you win the entire, like, if God of War was to win Game of the Year with only having a month of release, like, bro, like it wouldn't. Yeah, it literally came out last month. Like, how can you be the best game of the entire year with a month of time in? And technically wasn't a full month. I mean, let me see, when was the Video Game Awards? Exactly. It was just the other day. It was either Sunday or Saturday, which means technically, all right, so never mind. Technically, it wasn't actually a complete month. But literally, it was only a month, and to win the Game of the Year. I wouldn't get it. I don't even think it should even be qualified in the category. Just how, like, they do certain albums with the Grammy, like, they come out at a certain time, and you can't be the best album of the entire year. You just came out. So that's that. Congrats to Elden Ring. But yeah, player's voice. Genshin Impact won this one. The only reason why I'm bringing this one up is because this was like the only category that Sonic was put in, and I don't know. I feel like Sonic should have won something. I mean, not really, but Sonic had a good soundtrack. God of War won that though. Depends what I mean by soundtrack. I mean, are you really like banging that soundtrack, or like is that game soundtrack really getting you in there? Like Sonic, man, bro, like you play those cyber stages and the song's playing, like you are in the zone. But yeah, Marvel Snap, one mobile game. This game is lit. If you have not played Marvel Snap before, I don't even know if I talked about it on this. Marvel Snap is a turn-based card game for the mobile, and it's available on PC as well. Where basically, you have your cards are the Marvel universe, not just the movie universe, the actual Marvel, everything Marvel. And the way it works is that it's you have 3 zones, I want to say, or 3 lanes that you can place your cards in. You can only play 4 cards max in each lane. The trick is each card, not all of them, but each card will have special abilities, and they will only work on certain occasions. As in, some abilities work on reveal, meaning the moment you draw the card, the ability will work. Others, it'll be ongoing, which means it will keep going throughout the entire game. But on top of that, each zone will have I don't know what you would call it. It will be a zone taken from the Marvel universe, and those zones will have an effect too. So there's cases where the zone can go completely against your deck style. If you have a deck that plays a certain way, the zone can ruin your deck style. So it's not like a simple just build a strong deck and who wins. Like the zone can affect who wins too. So it's a good game. I won't say if it deserves. I don't remember who else was on the list for mobile game, but Marvel Snap, I mean, it's the most recent mobile game I've been playing since Pokemon Go. So there's that. I'm surprised, but not surprised that Valorant won esports game. I'm not sure if Apex was in the bracket. Yeah, well, you already know how I felt about Apex, but I feel like Apex might have a stronger esport, but then again, some of the esport players actually have been leaving Apex. One of them is a streamer that I've been following, Lulu. I have noticed that she haven't been streaming Apex lately whenever I see her online, and I saw that she actually stopped playing. I'm not sure if for good, but she has stopped playing. So I think a lot of people are feeling that Apex burnout, man. Apex really need to step it up if they want to bring people back. Fortnite just did a new a new chapter season, so that's bringing some people excitement back. It's a new map, so the feeling of new stuff is happening. See how long that'll last. The one that hurts me the most, best adaptation, Arcane won. I wanted Cyberpunk to win this one. You know how I felt about Cyberpunk. The anime, the only reason why is because, I mean, maybe because I know a lot of people praised Arcane when it first came out. I remember that. But I don't recall Arcane, to my knowledge, doing what Cyberpunk did. Like that anime literally revived the game and brought the game to a new light, bro. I don't like, most time I hear about League of Legends, it's usually that it's just the most toxic game ever. So it just happens to have good characters. It's the same how I felt about Apex. Like Apex is not, is the game is getting dull, but I love the lore and I love the characters in the game. So they just managed to take the characters that you love and put them into animation. But Cyberpunk. I was already loving the game myself, but then to see the anime do what it did to the franchise, well, to the game, was going to be a franchise technically because they already confirmed the sequel. I mean, I don't know, bro. I wanted Cyberpunk to win. But yeah, speaking of Cyberpunk, we also got the reveal. We got another trailer to the next, whatchamacallit, the expansion. My boy Idris Elba is gonna be in Cyberpunk. So not only we got Keanu Reeves, but we got Idris in here. Interesting. God of War won a lot of awards, but like I said, they didn't win the big one. It's funny, Elden Ring and God of War was going at it. I think God of War won 5 awards. Elden Ring won 3, but they won the big one, which is Game of the Year. That just shatters everything. Yeah. Looking at other stuff. Action games. Stray won a couple of games. Won debut indie game and indie game of the year. I think From Software one studio of the year. I believe they made Elden Ring, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they did. So that's technically a Elden Ring dub. So there's that. I don't know. Multiverse is one fighting game. I don't think that should have happened at all. Multiverse got real stale to me, and to some people that I already knew who started playing the game before. And yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Hopefully, Street Fighter 6 take it next year. But Tekken actually coming out next year too, so it might be looking good next year for the next awards. What's that game? Forspoken. The demo came out, which might get a little woke in here, but seems to be a mixed review. But the problem is it's only mixed because there's a lot of people who's criticizing the game without bluntly saying it, but it seems like they have a problem that we have a black female lead, but they are criticizing the game in a way that they won't say that. So they're criticizing the game for things that shouldn't really be criticized. So clearly it's like they trying to tiptoe around why they don't like the game. And most people are like, the people who really knows is like, bro, like this game is looking fire and it's just a demo. Why y'all hating? Stop it. So, hey man, I was already, I gotta see. I actually told myself I was supposed to look for this. I believe this is a PlayStation. I know it's PlayStation 5. Oh, and it's coming to PCs as well. Yes. I was gonna be nervous, bro. If this was gonna be, I was gonna have to find my way to get a PlayStation 5 because I wanted to play this game the moment I saw it got announced. And it's coming out next month, so we good. Hopefully, no delays. Yeah, man. I might have to come back into my streaming, bro. Which I'm gonna get into that in a moment, but that might have to be the game my big streaming game I come back to, playing that on PC. Yeah, support that game, bro. Don't let people tell you otherwise. But yeah, Forspoken, Game of the Year awards. There was a little controversy that happened at the Video Game Awards when Elden Ring won Game of the Year. When they was giving this speech, some kid basically walked up the stage with them and stood there the whole time, pretending like he was part of the entourage. And then at the very end, when they finished giving the speech, he walks up to the mic and was like, hey, I want to nominate this award to Bill Clinton. Everybody just in here like, what? So there's been claims that he has been arrested, but that dude looks like he's a minor, so I don't think anything's gonna happen to him, unfortunately. But it's still because like you just kind of killed a moment for Elden Ring winning Game of the Year. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, that's it. Games. Next thing is manga. I won't say manga anime because I haven't been watching anime. Granted, I have been watching clips of the One Piece, because that's like one of my favorite animes ever, and I'm just loving. I just want to see the stuff that I liked in the manga be animated. So some good stuff here, man. It's looking good. But manga. I think I touched on me reading the manga, so I didn't even notice. So I'm kind of low key disappointed. But one of the mangas I was reading was The Golden Sheep. That was the one that I had. I had it for a while, but I finally started reading it, only to find out that it's only 3 volumes long. So I finished the whole series already. It's a good short read. Good story. I just thought it would go more deep, to be honest. So to basically summarize the story, as I already summarized it before, but I don't want to say it's a coming of age story. It's more of a finding yourself story. Between 4 teenagers, childhood friends, who they were all childhood friends, but one of them moved away, and she came back a few years later to rekindle the friendship, only to find out that they all have went through different journeys in their lives and things started to change for them. So they all went through their personal journey and their personal growth throughout the manga, and towards the end they came through some common ground of where their friendship will go from here. It's like it was some real, like it was I won't say it's like it was the happiest ending, like yeah we made up and we're friends. Like it was more like our bond is there, but we're not gonna pretend like it will be here forever. Like it's clear that we all can go through things. We can all go through our own point of views. But for this moment right now, we are, I guess we're friends, because some of them have some shaky relationships. So yeah, it's a good read. Like I said, it's only 3 volumes long. Not that long at all. Yeah. Next one, I want to talk about this. I've been talking about it before, but I'm reading. I read a volume the other day, and I kind of wanted to talk about it. But it's called Blood on the Tracks. I've been reading. I am currently on the 6th volume. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe there's like 12 volumes out right now. I do not know if this is ongoing. Too, this would actually suck if it is ongoing. I think it is ongoing. I'm not sure. Oh no. Well, I'm not gonna say oh no. They have it 13. 13 volumes. I've only always seen 12 when I see like Amazon or whatever. So you can probably, yeah. And physically, there's 12 volumes out now, but apparently there's 13 volumes. So I guess the 13th one haven't been published yet. So, and I'm looking at the year. The first volume came out in 2017. The 12th volume came out in 2021, last year. So if there's still one more volume, it's probably not gonna come out next year. So trying not to speed through it, but I'm already halfway there. Literally, like this, I'm on the 6th volume and there's 12 available volumes now. So hopefully the 13th will come out by the time I catch up. Yeah. So this story, so I guess I can do a halfway overview. I don't want to spoil it. I kind of want to like do a separate I don't know, a podcast or a video on my YouTube son talking about this in details. But the manga, the best way I can summarize this, goes through trauma and manipulation. We still do not know why, but for what, well, we kind of knew why, but we're not sure if it's 100% true, because we learned that the mother is willing to lie as a form of manipulation. So I'm gonna do a slight spoiler. This happens in the first volume, and it's what the catalyst of what happens throughout what's happening to our main character now. So the main characters are it's a young boy who's I want to say he is in the middle school. I don't know his exact age. But it's him, his mother, his father, but the story revolves around mainly him and his mother. The mother seems to be extremely overprotective of him, and at first it seemed like it was just, a typical, oh, she's just so overprotective of him, like he's gonna get older eventually, like you can't protect him forever. And it got to the point where it's like we realized how overprotective she can be. So they went on a camping trip, the whole family camping trip, with another group of family, his cousins, his aunts, and all of them. And it was the mother, the main character, the son, and his cousin, who's about his age. I think he's like a little bit older than him physically, if I'm judging by how he physically looks. But they were like basically on top of a mountain because they were going hiking and camping. And the boy was teasing him like, oh, he was on the cliff, he was like at the edge of the cliff, and he was like, oh, like look at me. And the mom was like, hey, yo, like get away from there, like that's dangerous. And he basically made fun of her for being overprotective, like, oh, you like worry too much. And then he almost tripped and almost fell off the mountain, but she ran fast enough and grabbed him and caught him, and then she held him and pushed him off. So straight up but he straight up pushed that dude off the cliff, and basically spun the story around that he just slipped and fell. And this put the son, the main character, into a very traumatic state going forward. Like he got to a point where he couldn't speak. He started stuttering a lot when he talked to certain people. He couldn't say words, like words just wasn't coming out his mouth. So like he was just traumatized as hell, and he wasn't sure what to believe. And the mom was just acting like nothing happened. It was just another day. She goes into the room like, oh, what you want for breakfast? Like, bruh, like I just seen you do that to my cousin. The cousin did not die, but he's like in a basically coma vegetable state. So yeah, he's not gonna be saying nothing or doing nothing. But recently in the last volume I read, they had a falling out, but they decided to talk, and the mother, to manipulate this dude, basically straight out said, oh, I'll tell you the truth of what happened. And she like, so you remember like when he was on the cliff and I told him and I tried to run to him, but I couldn't make it. And like in his mind, like you could see that he was literally wiping the memory away of her pushing him off, because she manipulated that. He felt so guilty for him falling that he wanted to blame someone, so he put it in his mind that she pushed him. So she's basically trying to say, no, like that's just something you wanted to believe because you wanted to blame someone because you didn't want to blame yourself. But the truth is that he just fell on his own accord. Like she literally like changed his memory so that he would always like be with his mother, because that's like she always want him by her side. Like they don't care if they hate everybody else. Like there's a girl that he likes, and she like, oh, I would hate her for you. He's willing to choose everyone for his mother, and it's like I don't know, bro. It's sick. And like I said, we don't 100% know why she's like this. She made a hint that she kind of grew up in a neglected way, so she feels like she has nothing in her life until she gave birth to a son. So she feel like this is her only purpose for living now. This is the only thing that keeping her around. We don't know how, like I said, we don't know how true that is, because she's clearly can manipulate people into believing what she wants to believe to make whatever story she wants to work. So we'll see where this goes. But yeah. So yeah, last part, talk about some lifestyle stuff, things I've been doing in my life. First thing first, I'm pretty sure I talked about it, but the upgrading of my PC that hopefully I mentioned, so you have context. That turned into a real obstacle course. So, and I'm kind of mad at myself, but it happens, bro. It happens. I'll figure things out now that everything is settled. But so for the longest, I mentioned that I built my PC in probably 2017. Throughout that time frame, I did minor upgrades to it. Like I changed out the RAM for more RAM. I changed out my CPU for a stronger CPU because it was bottlenecking my GPU. And then I realized that my GPU was being overused. Like it was heating up. I changed cooler systems. I went from the stock fan to a larger air cooling. Then I went to liquid cooling. I changed my motherboard. But I never just changed my graphics card. And no, the pandemic did no favors, because people started scalping GPUs and using them for mine rigging or whatever. So they were just like stocking up on GPUs and just using it to mine crypto and all of that good stuff. So the price has been going up, but they've only been declining. So I was like, you know what? It's been what is this, 5 years? It's been about 5 years since I built my PC. I upgraded everything but my graphics card. So I think it's time to upgrade my graphics card. So I'm looking at graphics cards, which one would work, and I found the one that I like for a good price. It was marked as used, but kind of new. And as I got it, I mean, it seems fairly new. The only issue is when I got it, it didn't have the actual box with it, but other than that, it looks good. So, but I was worried that if this graphics card might be too strong for my processor, and if I might have another bottleneck situation again. So I went through like some of those like generators or whatever to see like what's the probability of these combinations working, if it'll bottleneck it or not. And there was a probability. It wasn't high, but it was there. But they was treating it like, nah, that's a problem. But I don't think it is a problem now that I actually figured it out. So I went to go upgrade. I want to upgrade. What was it? I want to upgrade my CPU, but the problem was the CPU that I was looking at wouldn't work with my current motherboard. So I had to basically get another motherboard, and then I wanted to get a new case, so I basically ended up building a whole new PC. Then something happened. I don't know if I was paying attention when I opened it up or if it happened during, but I did everything right, and I went to go boot my PC, and the CPU light was on. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Took out the CPU and saw like the ends were like, all four of the ends were like just bent, and I'm like, bro, what the heck? When did this happen? So I sent that back to get a refund or whatever, and basically decided to YOLO it, if that makes sense, and just took my old motherboard and CPU and put that with the new GPU into a new case, and yeah, it's working fine. But yeah, for like a good week I was without my PC, so came back just in time so I can do my podcast. But yeah, there was that. I upgraded my phone, nothing major, just my old phone was starting to run a little bit slow now, so just did a small upgrade, but I managed to have my old phone as well, so I can probably use that for like recording vlogs or whatever content creating stuff I can use it for. So there's that. And yeah, well, throughout this whole PC journey and during it and before it, I was noticing that I was like getting a lot of like life signs and things, like just I started to like take some time to reflect on myself and figure things out. So without my computer, and when I went through my phone change, I started to like just seclude myself from some things. So I recently got to the point where I left Snapchat, so I just gave that up. I want to leave other stuff too. I want to leave just about everything, but the thing that's keeping me back is the fact that I do this because I do podcasting and I do content creating. Like I have to promote it somehow. So that's the only thing that's like keeping me around on certain social medias. But I'm honestly getting close to the point where I might just go ghost and just have my podcast be the only way you can like hear from me or whatever. So, and my YouTube channel and basically like my content creating channels and everything that I do, but I won't have no way for you to directly talk to me. Like you could comment on my videos, sure, come into my chat, but that's about it. So there's that. Just trying to do better, as Absol states in his song, and take things one step at a time and deal with what's going on in my life and not trip over everything. But yeah, I also ordered some disc plates. If you guys don't know what disc plates are, it's basically metal posters. It's posters, but it has a metal front, so it's not like paper or anything. And the way you hang it up is by magnet, so you don't have to use no nails or nothing. You just literally just stick like a sticky piece. It all comes together. You get like a sticky paper. You stick it on the wall. Then you take the magnet, you remove the back part because it has a stick to it. You stick that onto the sticky paper and you just magnetize the poster to the magnet, and that's it. So I got a few of those. I want to get some more because my walls been looking bland, mostly in my living room. So I want to get some more. Just finally put some flavor into my place since I moved in here. But yeah, feel like that's about it. I didn't want to force episodes or force topics. I mean, there's a lot of things that I've been seeing and whatnot that I can talk about with mental health and stuff that's been going on in the world. But I'll probably save it, or maybe, I don't know. I would like to work towards getting a guest for the next episode, so I can do another end of the year wrap up episode like I did when I started this year. So yeah, not gonna force it. Nice little light episode. I do be getting jealous when I hear other podcasts that I listen to, because some of them, they be having, just about every podcast I listen to have co-hosts and whatnot. So they have people to go off the energy with, especially if they're really friends with them, so they can match the energy and this stuff. I'm like, bruh, wish I had friends I can do that with. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta do things alone. But it's cool. It's all good. But yeah, man, guys, enjoyed this episode. Like I said, please be sure to share, rate this, all that good stuff. Hope you guys have a great day, a great week, and yes, starting to really pick up with the cold. So yeah, man, be safe out there. Yeah, till next time, peace.